Winter according to Humphrey. Sour notes. Um, Chapter 4. It was on pins and needles until Friday, waiting for Mrs. Lark to come back. Would you be upset when she found out that the words to her song were wrong? Would the girls be upset if she said they couldn't be snowflakes after all? Would everyone be upset if the small Paul for running the whole song? Would I? Mrs. Lark, Paul, Mrs. Lark, Mrs. Lark, Paul Fletcher did some research and found that there's a problem with one of the lines on the song. Mrs. Brisbane explained when the music teacher arrived, it is possible for two snowflakes to be identical. Mrs. Lark looked surprised. Really? That's not what I learned in school. Miss Brisbane called the small paw to explain. What I said that while there was there probably have never been two snowflakes that are alike. There is a possibility, he said, and of course, who would know for sure? Because you have to look at every snowflake that that fell. Whoa, that's a whole lot of snowflakes, Thomas said. Mrs. Lark blinked a few times as she thought. Let's take a vote, she said at last. Raise your hand if you not one hand or paw went up. Even small Paul didn't raise his hand. Good, Miss Brisbane said, and I think I have an idea that'll make everything clear. I'll tell you later. For now, I'll let you sing, and sing, sing, sing. We did. Miss Lark played on her keyboard. First the boys sang jingle bells, and I squeaked along with them, but I think they drowned me out. Then the girls sang, no two snowflakes are alike. I didn't squeak along with them, since I'm not a girl. Instead, I hopped on my wheel and spun to the music. I forgot one thing, though. My wheel makes a noise. It's not a little squeak, squeak, squeak like mine. It's but a loud screech, screech, screech. The more I spin, the more it screeches. Suddenly, Miss Lark looked up and stopped playing the music. Some of the girls kept singing on until they noticed that she had stopped. Mrs. Lark stared in the direction of my cage, so I stopped spinning my wheel. It was the, she asked. Oh, that's Humphrey's wheel. She enjoys spinning to music, Miss Brisbane said. So do I, Rosie said, and she spun her wheelchair in a circle. Can we cover the cage with a cloth or something, Mrs. Lark asked, so we don't have to hear him? Cover my cage with a cloth? Could my tiny hamster ears actually have heard those words? Oh no, Sophie gasped. He'd feel terrible if he did that. I was so happy that someone knew I wouldn't like that. I don't think we need to cover his cage, Miss Brisbane said. Let's just sing a little louder. I was worried that Mrs. Lark covered my cage. I didn't squeak or screech at all as these boys practiced jingle bells again. Then they sounded fine to my small ears, but Mrs. Lark stopped again and said, "Who's that singing and again?" "It wasn't me," I squeaked. "After all, I can be blamed for everything." "Sing again, boys," she said. "This time I won't play." The boys cheerfully repeated jingle bells, but this time Mrs. Lark walked away from the room. Walked away. This time Mrs. Lark walked away from the keyboard and stood in front of the boys, looking hard at each one. When she standed in front of just Joey, she frowned. "I'm afraid it's you, Joey," she said. The boy stopped singing. What did I do?" Joey asked. "I'm afraid your singing is a little bit off key. In fact, I'm afraid your singing was a little bit. No, you're singing a little bit. In fact, I'm afraid your singing was a little bit off key," he said. Off key, she said. "Yes," Mrs. Lark said. "You're not singing the right notes." "Could you sing more softly?" Joey nodded. When the boy started singing again, Joey didn't just sing more softly. He didn't sing at all. His mouth was closed and stared down at his feet. It was just the saddest jingle bells I ever heard. Poor Joey. I think he felt terrible after singing off key. Mrs. Brisbane told Mrs. Lark when my friends left for recess. I hated to say anything. Mrs. Lark answered, "But Joey's singing was awful. He almost sounded like that frog over there. He's off key. He'll throw everyone else off too. I'm sure he'll try do better," Miss Brisbane said. "He certainly will," I squeaked. Mrs. Lark sighed. I know, but you, I know, but he'd be better by the time of the show. It's very important to me." Boing, boing, Og twanged. I don't blame him for sticking up for frogs, although I have to admit the songs Og makes do not match along like singing. Mrs. Lark shuddered and she glanced over at Og and me. "Don't those animals bother you while you're teaching?" she asked. "Not a bit," Mrs. Brisbane said. "The children learn a lot from them, and you could learn a lot from Miss Brisbane," I squeaked. "Only if humans could understand me, at least once in a while." I'm not quite sure Miss Lark believed Miss Brisbane. Um, I'm not sure Miss Lark believed Miss Brisbane or me. They wouldn't bit. They wouldn't bite. She asked in a shaky voice. Og certainly doesn't, and Humphrey doesn't either. Though some hamsters may have you a nibble if they're scared. It's not their fault, she said. I'm not sure, but I think Mrs. Lark squeaked. She might not like hamsters, but she sounds like one. They wouldn't hurt you, Miss Brisbane said. "Now, are you worried about the show?" It took a lot of hard work to convince Miss Morris to let us have a winter program. Mrs. Lark said, "Finally, we could try this once and see how successful it is. So I want everything to be perfect." Mrs. Morals is the principal and the most important person at Longfellow School. So naturally, Mrs. Lark would want him to be pleased. Mrs. Brisbane put her arm around Mrs. Lark's shoulder. "I do understand, Mary, but try to relax. I know the children won't let you down, and the parents will love the show." "They will?" I squeaked. "Boing," Og answered. Mrs. Lark laughed. "Thank goodness." But for the rest of the day, I thought about Joey. Think I didn't think he or his family would enjoy the show if he didn't get to sing. And once we're alone at the end of the day, I opened the lock that doesn't lock on my cage and hurried over to Og's tank. "I'm sorry about what Miss Lark said about your crooking," I said. "I thought you and Joey sounded great, great, great. It wasn't actually true, but for once I thought it was all right to bend the truth a little bit. After all, I wouldn't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I would want to be Mrs. Lark." Right before school let out for the day, Mrs. Brisbane gave the class an assignment. When she said the word homework, everyone groaned as usual, but my classmates cheered up quite a bit when she told us what it was. "On Monday, I want you to talk about what you like what you like best about the winter holiday," she said. "We're all going to share our traditions and memories, and if you'd like to bring something that has special meaning for you, please do." There were nods and smiles. Sophie leaned over and whispered something to Phoebe until Mrs. Brisbane told her to stop talking. Being a young hamster, I didn't want any traditions. I'd spent last Hanukkah at Stop Giggling Gal's house. She's Simon's sister. They lit candles and sang, and they opened presents. Oh, it was wonderful. And I spent Christmas in Miss Brisbane's house, and I had a hamsterific time. They opened presents under a sparkling tree, but Og didn't come to room 26 after all the holidays. "Og, do you know about all the celebrations that happened during winter break?" I asked him. He splashed around in his water but didn't have anything to say. Poor Og didn't even know about holiday fun. Suddenly all I wanted for my goofy, googly-eyed neighbor to receive a present for the holidays, and I wanted it to be for me. Humphrey's Winter Wanderings. I wonder what kind of gift a frog would like. Do I know what frog's favorite drink is? Coca-Cola. Alright, that's the end. Bye.